Welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and another edition of Bike Profile with the Rider. So this is Joe, and Joe, as I said in a previous video, his nickname is Joe Flatline in my home. So how you feeling today, Joe?
I'm good. Didn't flatline all week, so I'm really in good shape, I think. Yeah, I feel good.
So I told the folks the story on how you had a heart failure, and,
Yes.
and your musician friend came over and literally saved your life.
Yep. And my wife had passed away from COVID about 6 weeks before, and so I was just home alone and having a sandwich and started to feel some symptoms. Called my neighbor who's an ER doc, and he skateboarded down in 30 seconds, and I collapsed and I was gone. And he did 1,000 compressions, broke all my ribs. They were going to call it when the EMTs got there, but they worked together, drilled a hole in my leg, shot in some adrenaline, and got me to the ER.
That's right. I didn't talk about the hole in your leg.
Yeah.
That's where they shot the adrenaline.
Yes. And I was fading a little bit on the ride, apparently on the ride to the ER, but it was enough to get me there.
Yeah.
And then they do the intubation and tie your legs and feet, hands to the bar. And so I woke up about 4 days later in the ICU, where my wife had been actually just 6 weeks before.
The same ICU.
Yeah. So I was in the ICU for about a week, and I've done a fair amount of biking, running, and
You're saying before?
Yes, before, and I had done a lot of triathlons and stuff, and so I think that helped. The PT guy came. First thing I said when they pulled the tube out was, "Where's the gym?" My son reminded me of this later.
Yeah.
So so the PT guy came. I think the day after the tube came out, and he goes, "Can you walk, sir?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can walk. I do triathlons. I bike. I run." And so let's see. So I
speaking of, you have a half marathon T-shirt on.
Yeah. I have a lot of these actually, and so I just took off down the hallway in the ICU, and he goes, "Yep, he's good to go, everybody." So they moved me up to the 7th floor, which is the heart failure floor, and I was there for about a week and a half maybe, and they were thinking I'd be there about a month maybe. And my cardiologist calls me the miracle man because I wasn't supposed to survive.
No, these guys love to trade these stories. I have another guy who's got a pacemaker, and he says that his doctor, every time he meets up with his peer group, they all try to top each other as far as like, "Oh, I got this guy," and then now they're all going to be talking about you. Right?
Yeah, well, he brought my cardiologist every day. Would come to see me, both in the ICU and the heart failure floor. He'd just bring a string of these young docs with him. And they go, "Here he is, everybody. Joe, tell the story." So I would tell the story, and they were all like writing stuff down and like, "How did it feel? What did it like? What was it?" Because I did die. I mean, I was gone.
Yeah.
So and did you see Elvis or whoever? Didn't see Elvis. Sorry. So I was very excited to get home with my sons, and they stayed for a week, and then it wasn't long before I got permission to start working out again.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Walking and whatever, and get on the exercise bike, just to regain some confidence, kind of. So here I am,
So let's talk about the history of the bike. How long have you had this guy?
Oh my gosh. So I started doing tries right around the early 2000s. I had an old beat up bike, and so I finally, when I worked with her husband, ran a bike shop. And she said, "He'll make you one. He'll build one for you, custom it." And so he did, and it's lasted me. It's like it's heavy duty, I have a triathlon bike on a trainer at home, but this is my comfort bike. This is the one I use for, I feel steady on it, you know what I mean? It's right now, especially after all the surgery.
Do you have balance issues, do you think?
A little bit, yeah, I do. And so I'm nervous about going out into open traffic with the bike, and this is the one I would trust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can get in and out of the pedals easily, and I think it's pretty solid, and you take care of it so well, so it's gonna, I think, be solid for me.
So I didn't know this was a custom build because there are some things on here that are very noticeable. For example, the Mavic Open Pro wheels, rims with the Shimano Dior hubs. That would have been something that someone would have built for you. Just for like durability and 32 spoke wheel, and I mean, it's just a very quality build. So that person did a really good job for you. And also, I just noticed this in the first video that I did. I didn't notice that this was an American Classic seat post. It's another one of those companies that went out of business.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Huh.
So you've had the bike about 20 years, maybe?
Yeah, probably close to that now.
Yeah.
You know, and I love it. I mean, to me, like, I'll probably go out tomorrow on it. You know, I'm just
Yeah.
going to go real slow and
Yeah.
not far, but I just want to get my bearings again with it.
Yeah.
But I trust it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's what it feels. It feels like to me anyway.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I brought it here for you to just take a look at it and
Yeah.
see what you could do with it.
So we went through a few things, and so right here, this cable was very corroded, if you recall, but now the brake action is really, really nice. I tried to get some of the surface corrosion off of different parts. If you notice, I got all the corrosion off of your nipples.
I know. It's like, wow, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
But really, it's at a point now that you just do a little bit more upkeep and it'll be fine. So we've got a new chain on there. Look at your cassette. It's all nice and clean.
Yep.
Triple chain ring, which I've told so many folks that because you have a triple, this 1132 is a big range of gears. A lot of the bikes now, remember that image I just showed you?
Yeah.
One by. So you've got a lot of gear range here. Soma is a very, it's got a good loyal following of people. So on the other video that I shot, the long name of this for folks watching is called Soma Fabrications.
Okay.
So Soma is just, it fits better.
Okay.
But there's a lot of folks that love, in particular, this bike, this double cross. So this could be used for cyclocross. I don't know if anyone's told you that. Yeah. So that's the name, cross, like cyclocross.
Yeah.
But you could also, it doubles for other things. Now, inside, we talked about the steel fork briefly. You said, well, what's the big deal? Steel forks are magic. They offer an incredible ride quality, especially something that, looks something like this. It's got a nice little J. Sometimes if it's more pronounced, they call that a French bend.
Okay.
And you'll see this a lot on what they call randonneur bikes. Remember that Paris event that I told you about?
Yeah.
So bikes for that type of long distance riding, a lot of times they'll have steel forks and they're more traditional, but they're very comfortable. So a steel fork, when you go over bumps and you go over stuff, it's allowed to move. Whereas a carbon fork is so stiff.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It does mute vibrations from the road.
Right.
But when you hit cracks on the road and stuff like that, it doesn't absorb as much as a steel fork does. Steel forks bend. They give you very, very good ride quality.
Okay.
And when you descend a mountain or something, it just tracks really well. You could just feel that the steel fork is tracking very, very well. Not everything that's stiffer is better.
Yeah.
So carbon forks are designed like almost 3 times stronger than they need to be because no one wants a fork failure.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine they're going to get sued and, millions of dollars and all that stuff. So no one wants that. So they make these forks super, super stiff. Additionally, you're going to have these really, really big headsets down here. And this is not, right? So it's
pretty
1
simple.
inch and it's just nice and comfortable, right?
Yep.
So we talked about that. We also talked about the saddle. So this is a Trans Am. So once you start regularly riding, couple 3 times per week, whatever that is for you, then we'll look for we'll look for this same one.
Do they still make those Italia?
I haven't checked yet.
Okay.
I haven't checked yet. But obviously this company is still around, right? Saddle Italia is a very, very big saddle company. I just want you to start riding again. And a steel frame, steel fork, if we just keep the maintenance up on this.
Okay.
I mean, this is a 50, 75-year bike.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, there's just
What would
like
you
nothing.
suggest I do that, the maintenance part?
Well, ideally, just keep the chain
Yeah.
lubed because it was corroded and it was, but the bike had been sitting, of course.
Yeah.
But just keep the chain lubed and not overly lubed. Once a year, what I would do to my steel bikes is take everything off, like that one bike that you saw in there, that's all broken down, and spray frame saver inside there.
Oh, wow.
So it's this protecting. It's kind of gooey and sticky, but it still comes out of an aerosol can, and you spray that inside the tubes, and put the.
What does that do?
It saves the frame from corrosion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because some folks, if they mistreat their steel bikes, you're going to start to see bubbling at the welds or other places, and then the frame is rotting, corroding out from the inside instead of from the outside.
Okay.
So we don't ride in the rain, typically, so you have less exposure to those elements. But people that live in other parts of the world, rain is a daily thing or a weekly thing, and so they ride. And they put fenders on here, mud guards, and they ride.
Yeah.
We can skip a day and it won't rain for another 6 months, right? But yeah, this is a very good quality build. And I just wanted the folks to meet you and so that you could tell your Flatline story, which is your nickname.
Hopefully my only Flatline story.
Your only Flatline story. And one thing I was hazy on the details. How old are you?
I'm 72.
72. Okay, so I did get that right. I said you were about 72. So one last thing before we go. You're riding 25 hard shell tires, or you're riding gator skin hard shell tires in a 25. Do you know why you're riding these tires? Did you choose these tires?
Well, I didn't choose them. I don't know when it was, but I said I just don't want to have flats.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at fixing flats, you know.
Okay.
So that was it. And they said, well, here you go.
Okay. So a hard shell tire is pretty close to their top of the line when it comes to puncture resistance.
Okay.
Right? Hard shell, it's got a terrible ride quality.
Oh, really?
You don't know it because you're used to it.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So hard shell, below hard shell comes gator skin. It's got also very good puncture resistance, but not as significant as this. And then you get into your regular touring tires and stuff like that.
Okay.
I would strongly recommend we move from a 25 tire. You're not going to notice right away when you get out there tomorrow afternoon. But if I were to put a 28 tire, a 30 tire, a 32 tire, you have much more volume of air, and you have much more rubber. This bike would be even more comfortable than it already is.
Oh, wow. Oh, let's do it. Okay. Yeah. Give me a few weeks.
Sure. That's what I'm saying. I want to see a pattern established. The thing is that these hard shells, they have a very, very long life. People buy them for that reason.
Yeah.
They're great for commuting. I can't be late for work, right? So I can't puncture on the road, and I need good mileage, and that's my commuter bike, and they don't care how bad it rides because the priorities are, I don't want to be late for work, I can't be late for work, whatever.
Yeah.
But for ride quality and enjoyment, you would be better served with a different type of tire.
Okay.
And a much larger volume of tire. So you see all this room here that I can put my hand through?
Yeah.
And all this room here in the fork that I can put my hand through. All of that, in my opinion, at 72 years old, which is a great thing, by the way, should now at this point be, how big of a tire can I fit into my bike?
Oh, wow.
Because contrary to popular belief, or at least what we've been told forever, a big tire is not slower. Okay.
Is it better for balancing too? Does that matter? Okay.
Yes. So in your situation more specifically, which I'm glad you mentioned it would provide a much larger footprint on the ground, so it would help you with balance, for sure.
Got it.
Yeah, so if that's a concern to you, we can move to bigger tires now, or just wait until you establish the practice of riding what is it, 90 days to establish a new habit, right?
Yeah, so they say. Atomic habits, yeah.
Yeah, so 3 times a week or 4 times a week, whatever that is for you. But yeah, I think you'd be better served with a much bigger tire, because right now, all of us on all the bikes that we ride, we are trying to maximize, and that's racers, commuters, recreational riders, we are trying to maximize the tire size within our frame. Almost.
Wow, see, I didn't know that.
I didn't think.
Oh, that's helpful. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because you've been riding so long, the common accepted knowledge at the time was thin, hard, 100 psi, 120 psi.
Yeah.
I used to ride tubulars at 160 because that was the max pressure.
Wow.
And do 200 milers with 16,000 feet on those super hard tubular tires, like Tufos. They were like 160 psi max, so that's what I would ride them at. Jeez. Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
And they were 23s or 21s.
Wow.
So now the bikes that are coming with stock tires, they're no less than 28.
Oh my gosh.
And some of them are 32.
Okay.
For road. I'm not even talking graveling or any of that stuff. So yeah. So let's get you riding, and then.
No, thank you. That's why I come to see you, because you'll tell me that. And now I know. You know what I mean? I always learn a lot. I'm inspired, plus I learn. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that you're inspired. So thank you, Joe.
Yep.
I appreciate your business.
My pleasure.
I appreciate your friendship more than your business. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Give Joe some kudos. He's out there, 72 years old. What's your excuse? Okay, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you up the road.
Good job. It takes a little while to get good at it, I think.